I know that you were just out in the Permian Basin in Texas. You put out a tweet, basically, and I'll just kind of summarize it, saying we need to be as energy independent as we can be. What would be, if elected, your plan?
Well, I think first let's look at where we came from. I mean, you had, where we had a strong energy policy. When Biden came in, I mean, within seconds, he started pushing down regulations. He started taking the sides of endangered species over American families. I think it was sagebrush lizards he was more worried about than the fact that American families are paying $20 more to fill up their tank. But look at what he did in the first week. He stopped the Keystone Pipeline. He got us back into the Paris Climate Agreement, which put burdensome regulations on us. He suspended any sort of oil or gas production on federal lands or water, and he pushed down all the regulations he possibly could. And what we're saying is, now look where that left us. We've now gone hat in hand to Saudi Arabia. We're getting dirty oil from Iran and Venezuela, and our producers don't trust the fact that this won't continue or that they should even invest more. And so what we've said as a Haley administration, the energy plan would be simple. We would stop demonizing oil and gas producers and empower them to make America strong again. We would stop controlling where they produce or how much they produce and get the EPA out of the way. We would roll back the green subsidies that have been put in place. And we would make sure we speed up permitting on pipelines. And then more than that, we have to remember that a strong foreign policy is important for a strong energy policy. When I was at the UN, there were two things that Russia, China, Iran, and our enemies never wanted us to have. They never wanted us to be energy independent, and they never wanted us to have a strong military. We will need to do both of those to get us back on track.
Now, you were in Texas, which a lot of people, they think of oil and gas, of course, but many people do not realize that Texas is also the nation's leader in renewable generation. I mean, there are wind farms as far as the eye can see, really all throughout Oklahoma, Iowa, et cetera. Why roll back the green subsidies? Don't we need kind of an all-in energy policy, given that energy demand is only going to soar because everybody wants to live where it's warm in a big house, cranking the air conditioning all the time?
We should be in the habit of energy addition. We want all forms of energy. We want to make sure we're not going to any other foreign countries to have to get our energy. But we shouldn't put any heavy regulations down on our producers to where they don't see the benefit of investing. That's the key. Is what's happened now is producers don't trust whether they can invest. They don't believe that we've been consistent in the policies that we have, and we've got to start showing them that they're partners and not demonize them. And so, of course, we want to be exporting as much liquefied natural gas as we can. We want to go and support any other energy production that we possibly can, but not at the expense of businesses, not at the expense of American taxpayers. I think we need to do what's in the best interest of America so that we're strong, we're energy independent, and we show the rest of the world that we're able to take care of ourselves.
Well, President Biden has said that he wants to end oil and gas subsidies. There are some special drilling credits that are thrown in there. Do we need to change the policies around oil and gas right now, or would you leave those alone?
Well, I think the reality is, don't end on one sector when you're not going to end it on all sectors. I'm not a big fan of corporate subsidies, but I'll tell you, if you're not going to, you can't sit there and do it on oil and gas and not do it on ethanol. You can't do it on ethanol and not do it on oil and gas. So the reality is it's going to be there. What I would rather focus on is what's going to make us nationally secure. And that's being energy independent. That's making sure that we have partnerships with our energy producers and making sure people know what to expect. I'll tell you, being on that rig in Midland, Texas, was a beautiful sight to see. I wish every American could see the hardworking people that work on these oil rigs. They're patriotic. They're doing this for America. They deserve a thank you. And when it comes to our producers, they deserve a partner. They need to know that we're going to have their backs the same way they're going to have the backs of the American people. And I think this can be done in a way that's strong, and it can be done in a way that's patriotic. But we've got to do it in a way that doesn't demonize our energy producers in the process.